Top of the morning to you guys. I'm running a couple of minutes late. Share a cup of coffee with you guys. That good old Keefy first thing in the morning. I need me a little table right here because I got to bend way down to put that coffee down. I guess I can put that right there. Hopefully that doesn't fall. So in yesterday's video, I had mentioned sharing the story with you guys about the mopeds and what really happened with all 5 of those mopeds that I bought with such great intentions, you know, to owner finance them to guys coming home from jail or prison in need of transportation. At first talking about charging $100 a week, that's $400 a month. And that was a crazy number to even think about charging. So I would end up charging $50 a week. And that was crazy. Because with that, so much could have gone wrong. So many people told me, Joe, that's a horrible idea. What are you thinking? This is not gonna work. And my God, I hate to admit it, but to all those who said that it was a horrible idea, they were right. And more than they could have ever imagined how bad of an idea that really was. There were 5 mopeds in total. And today I'm gonna share with you the truth about what really happened to all 5 of them. Because I know I've never shared this before. I wasn't gonna do this video as quickly as I'm doing it right this second. I was gonna wait a couple of days before doing it. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this video today. Because I think it's one that you guys are gonna find pretty crazy. When I first started the whole moped rent-to-own idea, it was a crazy time on AfterPrisonShow. We were just getting featured in part with a couple of other prison YouTubers. I think it was Big Herc. It might have even been Wes Watson as well, I think, was featured in an article in the Washington Post about prison YouTubers. And I thought that it was going to be a good article, but turns out they were just making a mockery of us, talking about we were making 6-figure incomes after prison, sharing prison stories, and there was all of that. We would end up from that article getting invited to the Chamber of Commerce, almost getting kicked out of there. Cody and I went up there. Just a real crazy time. We got to go to an event up there. It was wild. Wild time. But I mentioned that because it was during that time that the moped venture was taking place. This was an idea that came to me like first thing in the morning, and by like before even lunchtime that day, I was signing the paperwork for 5 mopeds. I remember my wife was deathly ill. This was pre-COVID. So this was right at the beginning of 2020, I believe. Just crazy time. I told my wife about this idea first thing in the morning. She thought it was crazy, but there we were. We were getting these mopeds, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with all 5 of them. I knew I was going to rent to own them and, you know, rent to own them to people who needed the transportation, but I didn't have like 5 people in mind. I had a few people in mind who could benefit from this. I wrote out an ironclad, or what I thought was an ironclad, you know, contract. You know, I'm not responsible for your loss of life if you choose to get killed on this moped. And I tried to teach people, anybody who was getting these mopeds, how to ride and operate the moped safely. But even with that, throughout the course of the moped venture, there would be 2 pretty serious accidents. And 2 people would end up pretty hurt in the process of that. And thankfully, they didn't lose their lives. That's the number one thing. But let's go ahead and start with 1 through 5, what happened with these mopeds. The real truth. And I promise you, boy, I promise you, you ain't gonna believe this shit. I can't even believe I'm waiting this long to share this with you. Probably should have shared it with you as soon as I got the paperwork in the mail. Certified mail. Courier at my door, delivering the mail. Moped number 1, what color was it? I believe it was the tan moped. Same color as the moped that we got for Danny. And that moped would end up going to, do I want to put everybody's name in this? That moped would end up going to a guy. He had just come home from jail. We did a video, the first moped that we rented to a person. And, you know, he signed the contract. He paid the first week. He paid the little deposit. I think there was a deposit with this. I'm pretty sure there was. And he would have the moped for a couple of weeks. He was paying on the moped. I think he got almost halfway through paying for the moped. And then he ended up getting locked up. So I had to go repo that moped. Didn't really feel good about doing that. If he would have got out and, got back on track, I would have probably wanted to try to get that moped back to him. But I think it was pretty apparent that he wasn't getting out anytime soon. Not only did he have a charge, he had a violation. And, it was pretty evident that he was going to be gone for a while. And he would end up gone for a while. So that moped would end up getting sold on Facebook Marketplace to some woman who bought it for her 17-year-old son. I asked her if he had ever rode a moped before. She said no. I said, yo, these things are dangerous as hell. She said, hey, he'll be fine. So hopefully he's still alive today. I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. She ended up buying that moped, I think for like $700. Had no idea how to operate that damn thing at all. And I wanted to show her, but she didn't bring her son and she didn't care for me to do any lessons. So there was that. That moped was gone. The first and only moped that I had to go repossess, because that was written into the contract as well. If you default or get locked up, I'm coming for the moped. Moped number 2. This was an orange moped, I believe. We had a tan and gold one, tan or gold, an orange one, 2 blue ones, and 1 red one. So the orange one would end up going to another guy who I did not feel good about renting this moped to. If there was anybody that I didn't feel comfortable renting a moped to, it was this guy. And in fact, I never will forget when we delivered the moped to this guy. Super problem with drugs. I was pretty much feeling like on the way home after delivering that moped, well, that moped's gone. Never gonna see that moped again. And ironically, I was dead wrong about that situation. Of all 5 mopeds, the first one was the only one that was repossessed, and the second one, the orange one, which halfway through, not even halfway through, maybe like the next week, this guy had painted this moped matte black, spray painted the whole damn moped matte black. Man, that's a $1,100 moped right there. You've just completely destroyed, turning that thing into looking like some twisted metal methamphetamine rocket ship. Yeah, I wasn't happy about the fact that he painted this, not even making like 2 payments to me. But anyways, with that second moped to that guy that I felt like this was going to be the worst situation, he was the only person who actually completely fulfilled the rent-to-own process. Never missed a payment. And if he missed a payment, he made it up the next week. And there were like 2 or 3 weeks where he was like, Joe, I'm not going to be able to pay you. And he doubled up on the next week. No extra added charge for that. Could have done that, but I didn't. And I was beyond surprised, shocked, but like so happy. I was like, wow, I was so wrong, feeling like this guy was going to default on this situation. And here, he was proving me completely wrong. So kudos to that situation. Now, footnote to that particular individual, fuck that guy at this point. And more so, F me to F him. Because after that, this guy, he was pretty good in my book. So he would end up asking me for a personal loan of $1,000. And I knew this was such a bad idea for me to give this guy this money. But I would give him 2 payments of $500. Oh, God, it was so bad. He was living in a hotel. His girlfriend had just come home from jail. She had a drug problem. I knew this was a bad idea. Joe, I'm going to pay. He was like between jobs. I used the moped as collateral, that meth rocket ship, that was painted matte black. He still had that thing. That thing wasn't even worth $200 by that point. As much damage as it had taken. But sure as shit, he didn't make not 1 payment to me with that. Disappeared, ended up getting locked up again. He's back out now and still, fuck that guy. More so my fault, but what are you going to do? Moped number 3. Let's go with the blue mopeds. There were 2 of those. The first one would end up going to Jew-Man. And that was such an awesome situation right there. I remember sitting there with Jew-Man for at least an hour trying to teach him how to ride this moped, and this dude was dangerous on this moped, running through red light stop signs like the rules of the road didn't apply, or maybe he didn't even really know what the rules of the road were. I felt very uneasy, even after the training seminar, that this dude was qualified to be operating this moped. But there he was so happy with it, and he would last for a little while on that moped. I'll never forget, I was on vacation down in Key West when I would get a phone call I think it was Jellicoe who was calling me saying, hey, guess what? Jew-Man's in the hospital. He broke 2 ribs. He just got in a really bad moped accident. I was like, holy shit. Thankfully, he wouldn't be any worse. I mean, thankfully, it wasn't any worse than it was. It was a bad accident, but thankfully, it wasn't any worse. We would end up going and taking the moped back. I even refunded him. I think he had paid me like $300 for the moped up until that point. So I think I even refunded him the money that he had paid me. I just felt bad that he had wrecked the moped. And I'm not even gonna lie, I was scared to death, feeling like, man, I'm gonna wear some kind of responsibility in this situation. Yeah. That was the first accident with the moped where I was actually shitting my pants, so to speak, down in Key West. Kind of ruined the ass end of my vacation, but not like it's his fault. It was just a bad situation. What did we end up doing with that moped? So when I got that moped back, I think I would end up selling that moped to Corso. Corso would get that moped for a couple of $100. It was wrecked. It was in bad shape. He would get it. I think he would end up wrecking it. Then he would trade it for another moped. And that was the last that we had ever seen of that one. Ironically, if I go back to the very beginning when I first had those 5 brand new mopeds sitting in my garage before we even rented the first one out to the first person, I said, one of these mopeds already, without even being touched, is already totaled. I never realized that it was probably going to end up being all 5 of these. By this point, all 5 of these mopeds are probably sitting in a junkyard somewhere. They probably are long gone. So moped number 3, the first blue moped, that was the first accident. The second blue moped, number 4, ended up going to Shannon. And now this was during the Washington Post scenario when they were doing the story on us. So the Washington Post sent a videographer down, and he was accompanying us, and he was filming with me, and it was a very uncomfortable situation. I do so bad under pressure. Doing interviews, I always feel like it's an interrogation. And sure shit, it sort of ends up being that because they twist the narrative when they put the story out. Oh yeah, man, what you're doing is great. And they play some clown music over the video clip and make it look like it's a big frickin' Ringling Brothers circus act. Which, to be fair, it kind of has been sometimes. But I mentioned that because during the time, they had a person taking pictures, what do you call that? A photographer taking pictures of us while we were teaching Shannon how to ride the moped. And boy, I'm gonna be honest, I was feeling it in a major way. You got Cody filming, you got the camera person snapping photos, and I feel like I'm doing like some, I feel like I'm doing something really special right here. So we're teaching Shannon how to operate the moped. She's doing great on it. This is her first transportation after prison, and I would end up just giving her the moped. Well, Shannon, look, we got the moped service, and basically, I'm just not even gonna charge you for doing this. I know this is gonna help you out. You've been working with the After Prison Show. It wouldn't be right at all for me to do that. And look, this will help you save some money on your Ubers.
Absolutely.
Just be super careful. That's all I'm gonna ask. Just be super careful. And if you have any problems, give me a call. If the damn thing doesn't start, give me a call, and I'll make sure that we help you out. Come get it, pick it up, drop you off one that does work, figure out what the hell's wrong with that. Just giving her the moped. Now, I gotta be honest. The camera situation, the photographer situation, like, would I have done it if that wasn't taking place? And just to be brutally honest with you, probably not. But because the moment was so big, I was just like, fuck it. Hey, Shannon, here's a brand new moped. And that's just keeping it a buck with you. So I gift Shannon like a $900 or $1,100 brand new moped. And she was super grateful for it. She was able to get transportation to and from her job. It was just a really good thing right there. And sadly, she would end up getting in a bad accident as well. Somebody would pull out in front of her on a fucking moped, and boom, she would end up getting hurt as well. I'll never forget going and picking up that moped. That was the first moped that was wrecked that we actually got to go get. No, wait, we actually got to go see it. We didn't get to get it. We got to go see it, right? I remember going to see it for some reason, and I can't remember why. Well, we did. And there was that. The insurance company would actually end up paying me, like the guy's insurance would actually end up paying me in full for that moped. Well, like $700. They gave me $700 for that moped. So that was actually a pretty good ending to that situation, even though that was such a messed up situation. And just like with you, man, with Shannon as well, I think it was the curse of the blue mopeds. Thank God that accident wasn't worse than what it was, and thank God nobody lost their life. Yeah, for sure. There's one final moped, and this one's the real doozy here. The burgundy moped, the red moped. And when I tell you this is the cream of the crop, this one's definitely just that. So I would end up giving this moped to somebody who needed this moped. They were renting to own this moped from me as well. And I had also had thoughts of just giving them this moped, but I didn't. I know that I gave them a really fair deal on this, like just give me exactly what I bought the moped for. Instead of, because the rent to own thing, you were paying me some interest. You were paying me like $1,500, I think, in total to rent to own the moped. So with this person, I was just like, hey, just pay me what it cost and you can get it. And they really wanted this moped. They needed a moped. There was all of that. So everything was going great with that moped. And then I would end up seeing this person. It would be their birthday. Their birthday was coming up or some shit like I can't remember what it was. It was on their birthday when I told them, hey, look, you still owe me X amount of money, but instead of that, just give me like $400 and we'll just call it square. So it would be like another week or two because they were like, hey, look, let me get the money together. It'll take me, till the end of the month. Let me get the money together and I'm going to give you the money. And I was like, cool deal. So the end of the month would roll around and sure as shit, they would come over and they would give me the money. And I was like, hooray, man. You are awesome right there. Good job. That moped is free and clear. That's yours, dog. That's yours. They would leave and like 20 minutes later, not even, I'd get a knock on my door. And I go answer the door and it's that person again. And they were like, hey, I hate to do this, right? I hate to do this, but I need the money back. And I'm like, what? They were like, yeah, man, my buddy just called me and the transmission in his car went out and I need the money back. And as much as I was like, what the world here, I gave him the money back. I was like, okay. They were like, hey, look, I'll pay you in like 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks. I'll get you the money right back. I got to help my buddy out. Now, mind you, during this time, I didn't really have any inclinations that there was anything going on with this person involving drugs. Boy, would I learn later that there was, though. So they said, they'll get me square in like 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks goes by and I don't hear from this person. And then 2 months goes by and I still haven't heard from this person. And by like the third month, I'm thinking to myself, yo, what the world? Where the hell is this person? I'm calling them. They're not talking to me. We're texting on the phone. And it was like, hey, look, I'm going to meet you on Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to get you square. So this particular Sunday, I'm waiting to meet with them. I'm doing a bathroom remodel at my old house, the upstairs bathroom. I'll never forget this. I was doing tile work. When the time was quickly approaching that I was supposed to go meet them to get this money. So as the time is quickly approaching and I'm doing this tile work, I would end up calling them just to make sure, hey, we're going to meet. No answer. Texting them, hey, we still good? No response. So mind you, this is 3 months separated. I haven't even talked to this person this long because they've been blowing me off. So I would end up going to the last known address where this person was living at. And here's the crazy thing, I'll never forget. It was like 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night when I'm going over there. And I'm pissed off. So I'm kind of going fast down this back road that's right by my house at the time. When all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere. I see something and then I hear it, boom. And I immediately start freaking out. Folks, I'm going to share this story with you because where I'm going from this point on, this shit's crazy. Like I said, I was pissed off about the situation. I'm driving fast and I see something run out and then all I hear is the boom and I feel it. And you couldn't tell me that I hadn't just run over a child. That's what I felt like. And I was freaking out. Like, holy shit. Did I just hit a kid? And this is not for theatrics at all. This is literally what I'm thinking. I go back and, sadly enough, thank God it wasn't a child, but it was a freaking baby deer, and that was just as bad. I killed Bambi. I felt so fucking bad about that shit. I think I felt more bad. Man, I felt bad about that situation. So now I'm super shooken up. I go back to my house. I tell my wife what just happened. And she would end up coming with me because I'm so shooken up. And we're going to go see this person. We're going to the last known address. We get to that last known address. It's dark out. It's dark where this person lives at. I don't know anything about really where they live or who they live with, but I'm knocking on the door, and this person would come to the door, and they would answer the door. And I would say, hey, yo, where's such and such at? And they said, they don't live here anymore. As a matter of fact, it's been like 3 weeks, and they've been kicked out. I kicked them out 3 weeks ago because they were using drugs. And mind you, I'm not this. You probably already know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna put a name on this, but this is not to go in on this person. Simply, I want to get to the moped situation, and that's why we got to go this route. This is how we got to the moped situation. So, and I haven't talked to this person in a long time, and I truly hope that they're doing well in life. I hope they're doing a lot better. So, anyways. The dude was like, yeah, I kicked him out a couple of weeks ago, and boom, like there's the remainder of his stuff still sitting on the porch. It's been rained on, like Jesus Christ, man. So he says to me, he says, hey, are you here about that moped? Are you the guy that gave him the moped? I was like, yeah, I am. And he was like, oh, that shit's been gone. He said, yeah, he sold that shit for crack a long time ago. And I'm like, what the world? Now, there's no real justification for this situation. I would hear from the person who had the moped eventually that, the roommate was getting high as well. And it's, there's some speculation as to whether or not the roommate encouraged the drug activity. So it could have been a horrible, bad living situation that just spiraled out of control. God, I got to get ready to go. It's 7:30 in the morning. I got to get through this story and we ain't even there yet. All right, so anyways. From there, I start blowing the person up on the phone, like, yo, you better talk to me. I know what's going on, yada, yada. I would finally get them on the phone, and they sound so bad, whatever. And they're like, yo, I'm going to get you straight on the moped. Now, do they get me straight on that moped? I think that they did. I want to say that they got me whole on the moped eventually. It took a lot, but they finally would get me whole on the moped. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Part of my thinking is like, well, maybe I just forgave and forgot it, or they got me whole. I can't really remember which one it was. So that was it. Now, I would have a conversation with this person about who, in fact, had this moped and should I report this moped stolen. And this person would tell me, yo, don't do that because that's going to get me killed. It's a dope boy that's got the moped, for God's sakes. So I didn't feel good about that at all. I said, if anything happens with this moped, it's in my name, so there's that. What the hell? But that was the end of it. Or so I thought, of course, or so I thought. So time marches on, still having, time marches on. Let's just go with that. And all of a sudden one day, I'm at home. I get this knock on my door. And it's the mailman. And I'm like, yo, what you knocking on my door for? So the mailman's knocking on my door. I answer it. He gives me a certified piece of mail from a tow yard. I got no idea what this is about. Okay, I'm like, tow yard? Like, what vehicle do I have in the tow yard? Who have I helped with a vehicle that may be in a tow yard? Did somebody use my address? Like, I don't honestly know. I open it up, and it's for a moped. And it's a impound fee is what it is. And it shows the moped right there, red burgundy, iceberg moped, tow yard bill, like $1,400. And I'm like, what the world? So I would call the tow yard. And I'm like, yo, what's up? Hey, I got this bill about this moped. And they were like, oh, yeah, you can come get the moped. Tell you what, we'll settle with you. Just give us $700. You can get the moped. It's yours. And if you don't come get it, we're going to auction it off. And I'm like, man, forget that moped. Forget that. I know it ain't worth no $700. That's a lost cause right there. I'm not going to get that damn thing. I would end up calling the person who had the moped that ended up getting sold or whatever. And I would say, hey, guess what? Funny situation. I just got a call from a tow yard about a moped. I think this person would say to me, like, what moped? So we went through that for a couple of minutes. And I said, yo, found the moped. It's at this tow yard. And this person's response is one that is going to be, I'll never forget this. I mean, this kind of floored me, but they were like, oh yeah. Well, I didn't want to tell you about it because I didn't think it was all that important. In fact, when I heard about it, I didn't even think anything else about it. I said, oh yeah? You didn't think anything? They said, yeah, but last Friday, and I think it was like on a Monday when no, it was longer than that. It was maybe Shit, I can't remember how long ago it was. It had to be a while back. They were like, a while back because of a $1,400 freaking tow bill. Maybe it was $700 and they told me for $400 I could settle it. I can't remember exactly. But they were like, yo, like a week or two ago, something like that. They said the dude who had the moped ended up getting shot and killed. And I'm not laughing at that because that's tragic. I'm just like, oh my God, you can't even make this type of shit up. Yeah, dude ended up getting shot and killed and he had the moped. So I'm like, man, what in the world? And you didn't think it was important to tell me like, hey, dude, you remember the moped that I sold to the D-boy who now he's dead? And they've impounded the moped and now they're going to auction it off. I was losing my shit. I was like, yo, man, let me tell you something. I said, if they auction that moped off and they go and open that moped up and they find a gun or some dope up on that joint, that's not going to be good. And you're going to have to tell them what happened with that moped. And thankfully, I guess, from there, nothing ever came from it. So I don't know whether it even got auctioned off, how much it sold for. Was there anything that was found on the moped? But that was the first moped that somebody got murdered on or with. Yeah. And also sold for crack. Crazy shit. Such a good intention plan. But like they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Such a good intention plan that went so horribly astray. And I'm almost thinking about doing the mopeds again. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Crazy shit, though. Just wanted to share that story with you guys. You let me know exactly what you think about that. If you want to get into the moped rent-to-own business to try to help people after prison have transportation to and fro, don't do it. Because 2 people will wreck, 1 person will get killed, and, a couple will get sold for nefarious products, so to speak. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about this. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!